Alright, so we move to welterweight. So yeah, Impa Kasanganay, who is moving down to welterweight, versus Sasha Palatnikov, which had a great debut at UFC 255, I want to say. And yeah, really just outlasted Lewis Colsey, or Kosi. But Sasha, he has a 2-inch height advantage. Couldn't find too much footage on him, but I'm just going off what I've seen. It was good to see him go, you know, get a fair amount of footage on him in his first UFC fight. So it's, yeah. But yeah, couldn't find too much tape on the regional scene from him. For Kasanganay, he only started MMA 2 years ago, so he's had quite the journey in those 2 years, and he will give up the height, but he does have a 3-inch reach advantage. Oh, I think a 3-inch reach advantage over Palatnikov. I believe Kasanganay's reach is 75 inches, but could be wrong. And 75% of Kasanganay's wins are by decision, and that's even including the regional scene, so that's quite high. You're expected to finish, the type of competitors that you're getting on the regional scene. So, yeah. If you do get down 2 rounds, it's always good to know that you are able to finish fights. Because, yeah, you won't be winning on points every single fight. So it is good to have that finishing ability as well. Which he's definitely working on, probably, because, he's pretty green in his MMA career. And, yeah, so... But yeah, he's coming off that brutal knockout in more ways than one against Joaquin Buckley. So brutal as in it's played constantly in UFC highlights. Also, the notoriety of just that being played, and it has his name attached to it, and it's pretty much going to be on highlight reels forever and UFC knockout montages forever. But also just the damage it would have given him. It's a clean shot to the head, bounced his head off the canvas. He was out on his feet. Never a good look when you're out on your feet. And yeah, just an incredible knockout. And yeah, so it's good to see him come back fairly quickly. So, probably wants to get it back. So we'll see how he can do here. Alright, so key characteristics for this one. So in the striking department, Impa, he's mainly a boxer. He can be a slow starter, usually loses or has a competitive first round. But then after the first round, he gets his head movement going, he gets his footwork going. You can see he gets a little bit more loose and starts letting his hands go. And yeah, so he gets going after that. But Palatnikov, he comes from a kickboxing background, and he has a nice jab, has decent kicks. He's an 8-point striker from the looks of it. And a few strikes that Impa likes to go to a lot is the jab and then throw on the overhand right, or the 3-2. He throws those two combinations quite a bit. And for Palatnikov, from what I've seen, he likes to get in the clinch and then throw a hard elbow in the clinch or on the clinch break. But yeah, he generally has his hands low at all times, and he can enter the pocket quite recklessly with, just kind of, yeah, just on a suicide mission pretty much. Hands low, chin up in the air, just throwing combinations, not really concerned about defense too much. But yeah, for Impa, he eats leg kicks, so he doesn't check leg kicks very often. Also, he dips on feints, or, dips on a jab, pretty much every time someone throws a jab, he'll dip back to his right, I believe. And then, someone can just uppercut him from there, or they could do a switch high kick. Or just a southpaw, they could just throw a high kick. In the grappling department for these two, so Impa, he will go to the takedowns every now and then. He usually likes to keep it on the feet, but here he will look for the takedown, and then when he does do that, it's usually a driving double, gets you onto the fence and looks to, sweep the legs from there. And for Palatnikov, he likes to keep it on the feet. He will go through takedowns of his own, but he does generally like to keep it on the feet. And he does have strong hips when defending the double leg, which we saw in the Kosi fight, and I believe a few other fights in his regional scene. And how these guys win their fights. For Palatnikov, he seems to have really good cardio and really good volume. Definitely outlasted Kosi. And for Impa, he has a good chin. I mean, that kick that he got caught with, that would have floored anybody. So from what I've seen, he has a fairly decent chin. We'll see after the post-mortem of after that kick, see how it holds up, but I think he'll be fine. I think he's got a fairly solid jaw on him. And he also has good cardio, good volume, good pacing as well. Right, so how these guys lose fights. For Impa, he seems a little stiff and a little hittable on the feet. Early in his MMA career, and especially in the first round, he seems a little stiff. Needs to really ease into fights, in my opinion. But as he prolongs his MMA career, we'll see, how he kind of loosens up in fights, and I believe that's going to happen. He's just very young in his career. And for Palatnikov, he's a bit careless when he's entering like the pocket or just range in general, and he just doesn't have the best strike and defense, so he can get caught. I'm pretty sure both his losses on the regional scene are by KO. Yeah, I think that's correct. Alright, past the victory for these two. Alright, for Palatnikov, look for that hard 2 or that uppercut when he's dipping on feints. Don't get too over aggressive, and because I'd imagine if you get too over aggressive, which you have a tendency to do in your fights, you just kind of chase your opponent. I would imagine Impa changes levels and goes for a blast double, but also just blow the leg kicks, keep the fight at distance, leg kicks because Impa doesn't check them, So for Impa, mix in takedowns just to make him think about something else. Also, just find a way to ground him when he throws a spinning technique in the clinch. So he'll go for that spinning elbow in the clinch, and it's just a recipe for getting taken down, really. So try and get him down, get in dominant position on the ground, and look for control and damage on the ground. Alright, so how I see this fight going. Alright, so on the feet, I think it's a close fight. I would lean Palatnikov. He'll be landing a lot of jabs, a lot of kicks at distance. When he closes distance, however, he may run into, an overhand right from Impa, or just a bit of wrestling offense as well. I think Impa will have his moments on the feet, but he'll have much more success on the mat. I think Kasanganay gets his wrestling game going here and kind of pulls away from Palatnikov when Palatnikov is doing a bit more damage on the feet than Impa is, or having a bit more success than Impa is on the feet. So I've got to go with Kasanganay with my prediction, just because of the grappling advantage and just from what I've seen from Palatnikov, but it's not confident because I haven't seen too much of Palatnikov and just every part of his game. So just not confident. I'm not going to bet it, but I might bet it. But I'll see. Alright, so what I'm going to be looking at in this fight, bet-wise, the prediction is Kasanganay, and I actually think he gets a finish on Palatnikov because, I'm a little bit skeptical of Palatnikov's chin and also his ground game. So I think if Impa gets on top, he could get a rare TKO win for Impa. So that's why I'm kind of looking at inside the distance line for Kasanganay, because I think if he's going to win, well, if, Palatnikov's going to lose, I think it's going to be getting dominated on the mat. And, if Kasanganay gets like $5 inside the distance or plus 400 for the American guys, I think that would be the move, if you like props. But I think the fight, kind of sways 54% in favor of Kasanganay to 46% on the comeback on Palatnikov. So if you can get Palatnikov at like $2.50 or plus 150, I'd probably play that. But not really looking to play Kasanganay because he has a few question marks with that last performance and just his career and his career as a whole.